Wow. After a bit of complications, I think we're live. At least I believe so. Let's see. I would say anyway, welcome to What If. I'm Jostein, and we have our wonderful friend Josh with us today. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for arranging it all.
It was a bit touch and go here on the tech again. I was starting to get a bit worried, actually. I don't do that much, but we have had issues with the latest broadcast, so I was hoping today will be good. I see we have already somebody in the comment. Rachel, Natasha, Spooner McClown, Bonnie, Deanne, Rachel, Andretta. Hello, guys. Thank you for being here. And are our audio about equal? That's good to know, because it's very annoying listening to two very different volumes. So, in the meanwhile, brother, how have you been? Back in UK?
Very well. Much colder here
Much
than it
colder
was in
here.
Spain. Yeah.
I
We're
was
enjoying it. Please.
Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say it's just a little week ago. I was sitting t-shirt outside on my terrace and enjoying the nice weather. And today we have snow, so it's
wow.
flipped a bit.
The sun's very warm in a trap, but the air is very cold still. Unfortunately, the sun is blocked most of the time in the UK, so it's very cold this time of year.
And we have somebody commenting that sound is good, so then I can safely say that we are
on the agenda today.
On the agenda, my brother, I have some questions, and one is because there's supposed
these hand signs, these ones. I had someone in my comments mention that you had these in the background of your on one of your artificial backgrounds that you've created. I don't know if you remember. It was one of our chats we did before, and a correlation between these symbols and negativity is quite around the truth movement, isn't it? You know, you see.
Okay, just I was stuck at you saying that I have a virtual background with some signaling like that.
Yeah, there was a comment saying, why is these hand signs in the background of your, or these symbols? Maybe it was.
I think this was this hand, probably.
Because I don't know. Maybe I should have looked into it a bit deeper, but I thought it was quite humorous because, you know.
This, yeah, maybe.
Did you have it doing this?
No,
at one point.
It's been doing this mudra, and so no, I don't believe I've had it like this. In that case, it must be some of the kids been pulling my leg. If that was the case, I am very sorry.
It's nothing to do with the temper anyway. It's the pillars on either side.
Exactly, it doesn't matter. Don't put too much into it, but it's not been intentionally in that case.
Come to Florida, it's warm there. I think that's a good shout.
Yeah, Florida would be. I always wanted to go. Let's say, I don't know if it's a place to live, but I always wanted to go, like Miami, Florida, and this area, hire some boats and enjoy.
What you've seen in the movies, yeah.
Yeah, I've seen too much movies. But it's nothing, you know, for me at least. If you have like being with beautiful weather on a boat, it's very. I enjoy it. Being on the water so anyway, let me bring up my first question. We just like a talking point. For me, in this is now how it normally works anyway, but lately there's been a man popping up in my kind of experience. I'm pretty sure many of the guys who are here now have seen him as well. He's kind of everywhere now, doing interviews. His name is Ishmael Perez, and this is not to you know, question him or anyone else for that matter. It's just this was the person the subject arose around for me. So that's why I'm using him. Nothing wrong with Ishmael. However, we talk sometimes, at least we have talked about and we've heard that you should be aware of false prophets, right? So where do we draw the line? Like there's so many truth tellers, so many people talking about these things, and sometimes there's you come across somebody. For me, it's mostly been like, okay, he resonates, he doesn't, or she and he, or like can discern like that. But what about him? I got a bit more. Not that it doesn't take away my night's sleep. I know everything is perfect as it is anyway. So it's not that. But I can imagine there's a lot of people maybe having that question, if not about him, about other people. Like when, for me, it was more noticeable around him that he said many things that resonated very much, and some things not so much. And then my previous experience is like I could probably not that split, let's say. But again, how shall we discern between truth tellers?
I think the simplest way is to see if it's pointing you to a space of happiness, if it makes you feel good about yourself, bringing clarity to things that you necessarily haven't been aware of within yourself. I think anyone that points to the self, even to the persona, to try to bring light to that which you haven't seen yet, that's causing conflict, that's causing you to experience life in unhappy manner when you're reactive instead of responsive, and essentially bringing the joy to light to heighten your experience here. Anyone that's causing sort of fear and anxiety in you is more than likely someone that you should not really be focusing your time and energy to. And I feel like, you're guided with your intuition to people sometimes just pop up in your life, and the inquisitive one on a spiritual path usually feels like this is aligned with them for a reason. Now, of course, everything is happening for a reason, but is the reason for you to transcend the idea that somebody else has some facts to tell you and you are the one which creates your own journey and your own experience and fulfills yourself that way? Or does it take you to a road that makes you believe the information that has been sent to you is correct? These are the two things that we can constantly be in conflict. That's why in the conversation last time we spoke, I was saying these things have to be realized by yourself. The fact is, if there are others, you say, I think the question was, everyone else is on a different path than yourself. And when I said, for me, it's what's happening to me in my environment and in my momentary experience gets my full attention. I don't wish to know what other people are seeing, how other people are feeling from this moment. Because when you interact with someone else, you feel that on a resonance. But for someone to be present and free, they really have to see what's surrounding them and destroy or take away the illusions that are being brought forward by the mind or the person mind. And that leads you to a path of liberation because it's cross-board. So many different ideas are thrown from the space of the mind that will consistently take you off course, questioning all things that have already been seen and done into this moment when it's fresh. I'm sure I answered the question at the start, and simply, if it makes you feel good, doesn't put fear and anxiety into you, and allow yourself the time with that being.
I guess it's okay. My dog is not being tortured. He just wants to get inside. Let me just let him in.
Okay. I'll see this question now. Response. So, my dad is losing his memory, so it's causing fear and anxiety. My mum and I trying to balance what we witness, not allowing it to hurt us. There's so many emotions and feelings are involved. Yeah, I mean, these things here are difficult if we identify with it being an issue, and trying within the personified aspect of ourselves to control that. Having fear and anxiety isn't going to help the situation at all. So when we can accept the situation and surrender the idea that we need to change it now, we can allow ourselves that time, that freedom to view and respond, act from love instead of fear. And then solutions will present themselves as you are on the journey. But I think this could be a time to look at the B12 and D levels within inside your dad, because memory is associated with both. And early onset Alzheimer's and these types of diseases are actually, I think 99% of them are deficient in B12, and very low B12 will cause severe memory loss. So just take a look at these simple things. Yeah, there we go. B12 and D. It's good to hear. And times like this are perceived to be very hard and difficult, but we can't actually change them in this moment. We just have the ability to transcend the ideas which cause this conflict. Just look at them, sit down with yourself and contemplate just for a short period of time. And as these emotions arise, just take a deep breath and surrender them. Let them dissipate. They will come, they will go. The personal ideas that were held in you previous, they're going to create this response. And you don't have to take this response and let it really manifest inside your being or inside the body. And you can learn to just take your attention away from the idea that's coming to you, and then you'll see it simply just drift as quickly as it came. Yeah, well, sometimes I can see that he said he has prostate issues, and I was told that that's also linked. It is. And just bring some information to him if he's ready to see it, and maybe make small changes in his diet. And we wish you all the best in that journey. He's never been so rude and impatient. It's a lot of change. Of course, a lot of fear is going to be coming. And if you're trying to, push some ideas that he's not quite sure or resonating with, it's going to create that separation. So if it really is that serious, I would probably just recommend spending the time and energy on just being loving and supportive. And whenever he's ready to resonate with some information that you share, just share it when it's ready. Just keep that relationship loving, kind. We're back.
Yeah,
How's
I
it
can
going?
relate. Now he's okay. I can relate to what she's saying because of my mom. She's also quite sick, cancer, but anyway, and it's the same thing. The fear creates a person who's like she says, impatient and with a short fuse, kind of a bad temper, and yeah, negative
Have you
mostly.
ever been so not confused, consumed with a thought that you're focusing on non-stop? That anyone that's in the room, your children, your family, your wife, your friends, are trying to talk to you, and you don't want anybody to stop this process that you're trying to work out inside. And every time you speak, you react like they're trying to really overpower that which you're trying to think. And it's just when the attention is on a thought. We have to see that these thoughts aren't a physical thing. We have an opportunity to take the thought, to sit with it, to contemplate, to create, to feel, or we have the opportunity to leave it. Don't take the thought. Allow the emotions to become stable, to sit there in a contemplative, meditative manner, and then respond to life as it is adequate to. And this is just something we grow into. The ideas that we need to share what we know with people that are sick and ill does really create that friction, anger, and conflict within them. When they're ready, they will come to you if they are. But everything's perfect for you, your journeys. And surrendering ideas that cause conflict is the most important thing to bring happiness to each and every one of us.
Just to finish off about the prophet thing. So people are most served in just listening to somebody who make them feel good, at least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, is there any ideas that have been or is being passed around right now? There's a lot of fun things that people tend to hold on to, mystifying spirituality and not simplifying it with hopes and dreams of something saving someone at some point when something happens external to them.
I was thinking, last time we discussed a little bit about we talked about food, and we talked about starchy things consumed with fats can be maybe not optimal.
Yeah.
And like I wrote in the caption or the show notes there, it's like my favorite nighttime snack has always been avocado and banana, and then not the very ripe banana. Kind of my favorite bananas are yellow but a bit green, with a hint of green in the ends.
Okay.
Uh,
Firm but not hard.
yeah, so I come to understand that when they are also before they're ripe, they're like starch, and they become more like glucose. When they're ripe, they become more just glucose, but still of course some, but that they are, yeah. So the combination I've had like a habit for quite a while is probably not the best for fat storing.
It's really, I mean, looking at the physiological processes of the body and fruit, and people say fruit makes you fat. Have we all heard of this? Don't eat too much fruit because it makes you fat. Don't eat too much fruit because it causes the same issues as high fructose corn syrup. So essentially, what happens in the body is fruit is fructose and glucose. Yeah. You have fructose when it enters the body, it goes into the liver, and there is no need for any insulin at all. So most fruits are primarily this fructose. Yeah. And then glucose is in a percentage, a smaller percentage within inside the fruit. So when we have fructose, for example, diabetics are told not to have fruit, but people that truly understand diabetes know that you can have fruit because it's converting to fructose, which causes no insulin spiking. Therefore, the best thing someone can eat, diabetic. Okay.
How can
Studies.
yeah.
Sorry.
No,
You carry on, man.
it's my fault. I was just I can't see how somebody can be, something can be that turned upside down, and it's amazing.
You see doctors, medical doctors with 4 or 5 million subscribers telling their patients not to have fruit, stick to the meat, small amounts of vegetables, but don't have too much fruit because of the fructose in it. And it causes heart disease, early onsets of cancer, all these different problems. And they even linked studies in the comments, to all of these studies that prove what they're saying. And they're really, not against fruit, but they're against volumes of fruit. So 5 or 6 grapes at a time, half a banana, and things like this. And then you look at the studies linked with them, and studies are done with high fructose corn syrup. So that every single study that you see from the mainstream doctorates, etc., aren't done with fruitarians or people eating fruit. They're done with a concentrated high fructose corn syrup. And this is where the disease happens, because the body isn't able to assimilate that. It needs different types of enzymes and bacteria to break that down in the body, which is then causing cancer to exist. Fruit itself isn't going to make you fat. Okay. Fruit is primarily the fructose, which like I said, doesn't spike insulin. If you eat fat when the insulin's being spiked, then it puts fat to the cells. If you eat excess amounts of fructose, let's say, studies say that then it gets stored, converted in the liver to fat storage. Okay. But then these studies are done with fructose as well. But let's just say that was a fact, and it was the same with fruit. So you eat a lot of fruit, it's converted by the liver, and then it gets stored as fat. You just got to know, be conscious and observe how much fruit you're intaking and watch the body. And if you're putting on weight, then you just need to reduce the amount of volume that you're consuming every 2 to 3 hours. Okay. If you're having such things, let's say glucose bypasses the liver and it has insulin spiking and it gets pushed. Insulin's a nutrient delivery service. It pushes it to the cells. So this pushes it to the muscles. The glucose goes straight to the muscles, fructose goes into the liver and then is sent out. Consuming fats and spiking your insulin will cause it to shoot the fat to the storage cells. So if you consume foods which aren't spiking insulin, you won't put on fat at that particular time, as long as you aren't eating an excess amount. So if you're trying to do a bodybuilding competition or things like this, we're speaking about on a fruit-based diet, which I know Sister Bonnie was interested in, then you just have to be very observant in the body and not overgive its needs at certain particular points during the day. So if you're looking to get fatter, then potatoes, avocados, and things like this, they'll work together to create an insulin spike and then push fat to the cells if you eat excess. But just eating and consuming fruits, you're going to be all right.
That's been my kind of other snack or dinner food, actually, you know, the potatoes in the air fryer with the avocado dip. I'm doing everything right.
Delicious.
Delicious.
But when you're on a focus, on a goal, everything changes, you know. You become very observant, you become very aware, you do what you think is right. If there's a goal or orientation to a desired shape in the body or something like that. So you got the mindset to do it, you've done it before, but it's a whole different process, you know. And I think just understanding those simple basics can help people modulate that within themselves.
Are there any other things that, like, when we're talking about let's say raw plant-based mostly, that one should consider before mixing, like not an optimal match between things?
You're designed, let's say seasonal droppings, so you could eat an abundance of a couple of fruits that are in season. I'm sure that most people are aware there's hundreds of thousands of different types of fruits that were heirloom to this plane, and you would have more monomills. You might mix things, but to sit down and to open up a big fruit, let's say soursop, jackfruit, durian, you would enjoy that. So when you start mixing things, it does become a bit more complex. More enzyme production, different things are crossing it within the body, but it's not going to cause any issue. We look at modern day man and what they consume. It's an incredible food chart that the World Health Organization put out there for everyone to see for the last sort of 50, 60 years. Bread, grains, fish, meat, dairy, small amounts of fruit and vegetables. And people have survived, people have been lean and healthy, but it's only since we've been introducing chemical foods and sweets and these new chocolates and MSGs and all these different types of things that we're getting real health issues. I wouldn't say there's anything to really focus on. If you enjoy coconut, it's probably best to eat it on its own, especially because of its high fat content, very high dense calorie. But for an example, if we're just talking about training or any type of training, so let's say running, probably the best thing you consume before running is like a juice or grapes or something like that, very high in this fructose, gets straight into the body. into the liver. That's going to be broken down during the journey. When you finish, you want to replenish the muscle tissue. So like the bananas are going to be great because there's starch and there's a glucose content, and then that goes into the muscle cells. So there is a small science behind it, but it doesn't really need to be focused on too much unless you're, a really high athlete. You're going to live a very high, fulfilled, happy life, experiencing, predominantly whole foods, even cooked. But if you're able to get in a place or in a position to consume more fruits than you are vegetables and more raw than you are cooked, then life's going to be very different for you. A lot of bodily freedom, a lot of internal repairs at a cellular level will take place. And then just have small fasts. Try your best to be as diverse as possible in the world of commerce. And make sure you get those 3 vital things in your diet, which is, of course, fruits and vegetables have everything from the iodine, B12 and D3, which are just these essential things that I think the modern day industry was able to recognize and bring remedy to when everybody started living outside of the equator. Ye old scurvy pirates.
Yeah. I see there's some questions I was just going to ask you, because it hit me the other day and I had to write it down so I could remember to tell you, because I've been wanted to ask you many times. Sometimes, especially if I've been kind of maybe taking a puff of the magic dragon or something, you can get these epiphanies, like, oh, and something quite normally quite simple, but yet like okay, I understand that now. And then you get like a little bit enthusiastic or eager, and then I want to write it down, but then it's gone, and it's really gone. It's like it's a kind of a predicament, because okay,
it's before it's gone, you kind of aligned a fact with you, like something that set in and actually
yeah, like
perception.
I can't even give an example now because it's gone. Like I say, it's nothing. Sometimes I can take something out, sometimes I can actually make note of it as well, but this last time was like, it was so, for me at least, something profound, like I thought I understood. And I'm thinking like, okay, is this a pre-taste of understanding to come? Let's say if it's something I really
naturally in your intuitive nature, but then sometimes the mind tries to grab intuition and it can't. Things are always handed to you at the particular time that is necessary and needed. So I find that those times that people call them uploads or downloads, and you're getting synchronization with the knowledge that you've acquired, and then ping, well, that makes sense. What did I think about then? Gone. And essentially, you've aligned yourself to a new perception at that particular time, and you don't need to hold on to that. It's like all the facts that people, acquire during a seeking. Seek is to CK, K is 11, it's balance. So you're always seeking to balance yourself with the questions that you know, or the questions that you're seeking for the answers to. And those times that happens is bringing balance to the knowledge that you've acquired so far. It's always working itself out, always, and then there you go.
Yeah, because that was kind of what I decided. It was kind of a knowing that I probably have somewhere, and you get a kind of a taste or a preview, and then it's gone. So, but anyway, it's interesting.
It happens to everybody, to the best of everybody. Just try not to hold on to it, or try to even chase the idea that came. But in those times, these Nikola Tesla moments, you would have a notepad if you are trying to bring this all to light, and write it down so you can then be recalling that information at a later date. hard to find these days, notepads.
Yeah, because
And
sometimes it's something. Okay, sorry. Says I have an unstable internet connection. Is it an issue out there? I was saying, like, sometimes it's it doesn't have to be like so profound, but sometimes it's like, oh, how could I forget that? It was like, it was so, yeah.
I mean, that's the great thing to, be involved with yourself, having the synchronization of your knowledge. I think
Mm,
everybody goes through this on a real journey. And when it makes sense and you really have no more questions, that's when it all dissolves. And, you would almost feel like the memory that you had has dissolved, disappeared. But then you'll have this set knowing that is available to pointing. And I think that's the most important thing to have. Not intellectually powerful, because that's a trap, but having enough intellect and intelligence to take you to a place that's higher than intellect.
mm. Let me just do, yeah, about that, just, about what some people say, is that we have this dormant DNA,
Yeah.
and when it's activated, we will like know a lot of things,
Yeah.
and be able to do a lot of things. Some would say that there's a coming solar flash that will trigger this event. I don't know. What's your take on that thing?
You just got to think there's so many different levels to human evolution. There's people that don't question anything. The narrative is the absolute thing which runs their very existence. Just even break that barrier is a great thing. To become aware of your surroundings is probably the next level of evolution for someone. See that the world is not necessarily as it's been taken before unconsciously, and then to be able to hear and see the thoughts that have been consuming you your whole life, to realize that there is a power that lies within you that can absolutely shift the perception, and then you begin to manipulate your perception to a higher frequency to see things in a very positive manner, which is essentially the virtues, which is key. Because when you start to align yourself with the virtues, you start to really replenish unactive and inactive DNA. That makes you resonate faster. And then as you're doing this process, you're cleaning and clearing the chakra, or the chakra system, the energetic system, which helps you then see illusions and the chemistry that aligns with these illusions to the blocking of your freedom. That's how you shift your DNA. There's inactive amino acid coding just even through nutrition, but the light is information, and you build this light, you build the temple. But at one point, when the temple has been built, it must collapse. And then when that has collapsed, you are the infinite. Then, when this is all knowing, all, the source of all, as knowing yourself, because you are the source of all. And without you, there is nothing. Forget everyone else. Everything that you see is coming from where? You. That's why it's so important, you master this space and then you master the sleep space. It's not important, let's say. It's a good function to help you recognize your true nature, because you are that dream. And then so much liberation comes from knowing that. There's no fear of death. There's no fear of losing anyone else. There's none of this separation. Just happiness, smiling, going through trials and tribulations that were perceived by the one which was created during the process of this experience. And you can create anyone and anything at any particular time when you return back to yourself, which is every night. And the only way you fall asleep is when you let go of grips of any thought, any aspect of this physical reality. And some may have a slight remembrance of the dream, the people they seen, the conversations they had. And with practice, you can remember it all. And then you can wake in that dream and become aware. And in that dream is no different than this experience. It's even more real. And then you realize that you are consciousness, experiencing all things arise within yourself. Everlasting life.
Would you say that dreams sometimes can try to tell you things?
Wake up.
No, but
I think go on.
no, I don't dream much of different, but periods I do, and one dream I actually remembered, and I made a note of it in the morning because it was kind of those rare times when it was like say fresh in my mind, or fresh. It was enough to take something out of it.
Yeah.
And it was actually you know how dreams are. So it seemed to be like an anniversary party for me and my wife, like a wedding anniversary. And there was a lot of friends and family, and for some reason I found myself underdressed. So I was trying to call or get to call my wife and tell her to bring some nice clothes. No, I was just underdressed.
Oh, okay.
But my phone wasn't on my side, and I couldn't find my wife. So I was very occupied about this phone, right? People came and talked to me, and I was like, yeah, come on. I just have to get this. Even dead people. Also, my dad, my grandfather, I remember people coming and wanted to talk to me, but I was too busy. So I think I can take out what they tried to tell me. Maybe I'm spending a bit too much time on my phone, probably. But I don't know. That was at least how the
You like
dream was.
all of those concepts that we have from others telling us things. You only spend too much time on your phone if it causes you conflict.
Yeah.
You find a lot of children when they sit there playing on phones or playing on computer games, even though it's keeping them active mentally, they get quite frustrated. So when they come off of them, they become quite, let's say, unkind, or their ego comes
Yeah.
out. It's the same
Yeah.
with others, you just get to focus on something, it's causing that type of conflict within you. You feel like frustration. But as long as you're not having any conflict in your life, you've got to remember this is your experience. If anybody else has judgment on you or it causes them a certain level of suffering, it's down to them to align themselves to a space where there isn't suffering. So you're playing, causing someone else suffering, is actually perfect, liberating them or allowing them opportunity to liberate themselves by recognizing the suffering or the conflict within them. It's a wonderful world of suffering.
Yeah, I didn't suffer. And I don't feel I judge myself for spending too much time on my phone. So, and spending time with your phone, it's kind of the phone is so much today. So when I'm on my phone, I'm not playing. I'm not taking pictures of my dinner or sharing. Normally I read something or look at something that's interesting. And this gives me, at least, it's not negative for me.
Yeah. And sometimes these experiences from others you see who may not be on the same level as you are, or having a different journey, and then they kind of lash out or react to that behavior, then that's an opportunity for you to not react, just become responsive and continue to take your path as necessary. Apologies that it affects you, but this is actually my will and intention at this particular time. So if it's causing you a level of suffering, then just take a little look, sit down and see that you might be slightly trying to change the will of others. And in doing so, there's a negative feedback into your space. And that would bring a space for solution. And if it's not accepted and it brings further, then I'm sure if you don't react, then that contemplation that would happen that evening aligns everything the next day. It's a wonderful journey. It's been so
Yeah.
long since we've spoken about virtues and other things that cause the practice of them, but it's a huge web of persona that challenges most people for their whole life as a person.
Yeah, it's an interesting journey. And if I did judge it, I would probably say to myself now, Jostein, you lost it. You lost to the ego. You're far out gone. But I'm not. It's it's just a part of the journey at this moment in time. I'm sure it's gonna show me, teach me something, but you know, from and it's actually I blame the hair. The hair. It's the hair. Without the hair, I don't have connection anymore. So I lost.
Yeah,
No, and yeah,
definitely.
yeah. I identified too much with the hair, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, that's the whole process. We have so many spiritual ideas that keeps someone separate from the spiritual nature of themselves, looking for something more than what is, looking for happiness when it's here. But most people say it's found in you and they don't know where to look. They say look inside, but it's not as easy as telling someone to look inside of themselves. It's to realize that they are the orchestra and they just need to conduct it all in a perfect manner, which is virtues.
Yeah. But just telling somebody to go inside, I remember first time I heard that was actually yeah, I don't remember exactly first time I heard it, but at least this time when I heard it, I didn't understand what you meant. It was kind of my first experience with the yoga, actually, right? Okay. And this instructor in the beginning of the hour said, you start with going within, and I was like, okay,
not good pointing. It brings a lot of confusion. It brings a lot of
I
confusion.
did. For me, I'm probably not so intelligent. I don't know, but at least that's I didn't know exactly what it meant to go inside.
Yeah.
And actually, just taking the focus away from the outside is maybe.
Yeah, to realize that outside is inside. We're looking outside, but it's all from inside. And essentially, the first thing is to look at is your thoughts. If you can recognize the thoughts are very different from what's actually here, then that's the first part of the journey. Because they are very controlling and intrusive. Most people don't have the opportunity to choose the thought, and it just takes over, and then they react. The one that's able to see that and make a change consciously, it's an incredible thing. Just keep going, keep letting go, keep removing constructs and ideas or concepts to the wonderful scripture of Immaculate Conception.
Just a small question before we can hit the other one's questions. Brass and copper gardening tools. Have you heard them being beneficial for over let's say steel or aluminum?
Yeah,
or whatever?
definitely. Copper, it contains a negative charge. It helps balance out positively charged particles here with the negative charge. So essentially, it brings like grounding. But also these things in gardening, for example, a snail and a slug won't cross over copper. So if you have it around your plants, then they won't go over it. As long as it's not something very small and thin, you'll notice that if you have a copper gone, I can see.
No, yeah, I was just thinking, but using copper and brass gardening tools, is it more a question of what they don't do than what they do, that the metal tools just do something that's bad and the other ones don't do anything, or is it actually
Because it's
beneficial?
magnetic. Yeah, it's non-magnetic essentially, and all these magnetic things they don't resonate as well as
and can do something to the soil itself.
Yeah,
right?
the precious
Affect it
metals, are very precious. But you say, for example, you're having something which causes balance, which is precious metals, and you have something which causes an imbalance. Let's say the charge is the opposite. So you're looking to reciprocate and bring balance, which doesn't happen with these types of metals. So essentially it's destructive, just like a magnetic field, one side of the pole, you could say, or one side of the hole or the void brings an alignment, brings perfection, regenerates, let's say, bad seeds. If you have that field within the plant, things will grow bigger. There was an enclosed environment with tomatoes. Have you seen that? I think it was a Chinese man. I've forgotten the name because it was during the days of intellect. But he grew vines of cherry tomatoes in an enclosed magnetic field, and then it grew as big as a warehouse. And the tomatoes were like like cricket size. But that just proves what you can do with a correct alignment magnetic field. So even positive energy, positive thoughts, they all have an impact on all life.
So actually, modern farming tools like plows and these different things actually doesn't do the ground or the earth or the field any good. No. Strips it of grounding or negative.
It essentially is just leaving a destructive path. It's not something that nature won't be able to overcome, but it's not the best. We always use these tools, copper, and it's been used for so long. I mean, people used to have copper bath. Sitting in a copper bath, and it's just been lost over time. But we have also lost a majority of us aren't connected to the earth at all, especially during the winter months. And that has the same, it's why it's called the earth. It's why it's called the ground. It's why you have a nervous system. It's all connected.
Yeah, this is I made a habit now to go outside because this summer I wasn't as much barefoot as I normally am. When I go in the woods here, it's either I have to go totally off-road, like no track or no path, nothing, or it's mostly gravel road, like with gravel. So that's not so nice to go barefoot on, at least for a long time.
Yeah, just find yourself a little grounding patch. Just try to spend 5 or 10 minutes a day just connected to the soil, and it does do so much, as you've experienced with your grounding mat when you were sleeping.
I do that every evening, like I said, like it made a habit out of just going around the house 1 or 2 times barefoot. So that's good. Yeah. I'm just gonna look through my notes just to see that it's nothing nah. We can take our listeners.
Thank you all for listening as well. Such a pleasure to have you all with us. Lots of gratitude. Muji caused me lots of suffering, anxiety. The ego role. Yes.
Yeah, and very often, just to go back to, because that was when we were talking about these prophets or people. I noticed they are all visiting each other's, and then they normally have at least have a book or two and something to sell. Maybe not so many questions.
Hello, friends and family. I have a question about worm tablets, adults. If we have worms and parasites, should we take the tablets for the chemist, or is there a better way to rid them of yourself, like starving out? You see, parasites, worms, they usually correlate to the food that you eat. So certain parasites are needed to break down certain types of food matter, like dead matters, candida. You'll find a lot of worms exist inside meat as well. This is why you have to give dogs worming tablets all the time. Something that's not necessarily designed for your system, you'll need a parasite to aid you as such. So if you're going to continually get parasites through the food that you're consuming, then I more than likely say that somebody doing that type of lifestyle or diet would not really be able to go through the time it would take to clear parasites through a healthy fruit-based diet. But you can. If you change your diet, parasites will die. You'll have die-off, which can be quite painful, cause some symptoms. Let's not say painful because that might put some off. You'll notice that you have some symptoms come up. You may experience some flu-like symptoms for a short period of time. But the best sort of worming tablets, antiparasitic, I think is going to be like the fenbendazole or ivermectin. They tend to be pretty safe as well. But I'm not recommending anyone to take them, but I just throw these names out there so you can do your own research and see how you feel. A lot of people have said that they've cured cancer with them as well, so just have a little look.
Isn't the MMS also good for?
Oh yeah. Thank you
Those
for
things?
bringing that to light. Yeah, so again, it's another thing that's quite a touchy subject. It's hard to find information on. There's a lot of negativity towards it, but if you speak to people that have taken it or experienced it and you're able to find good sources of information, you'll see that it has an array, an ability to help recover from diseases and parasites, etc. Because a lot of disease, or most disease, or all disease is from parasites. So yeah, look at an MMS protocol. I think if you go on our website and you type in the search bar MMS, it'll bring an array of information with some video links and a PDF that explains how to use it. And yeah, if you're not with us, come and join us and support us. We're doing a fast very soon. We're opening it up to like a level up. So not necessarily everyone wishes to do fasting, but if you are looking to improve your diet just for a short period before the Christmas holidays, then we'll be doing that on the 1st of December. There'll be a little course set up for everyone and their individual needs, and a group on Telegram where we can all support each other and share our fasting or food journey just to clean ourselves up as we approach the solstice. It's an important time of year, just on these quarterly fasts, just to bring some distillation to the body. It's great for longevity, healing some ailments and bringing balance to the body.
I just wanted to say we have a message from Ike Design. He's said, "Hello, brothers. I'm 17 years of age and live in America. Thank you for the beautiful podcasts." So thank you for being
Mr.
here.
Ike.
Yes.
It's lovely to have
17 years
someone
old.
so young. Yeah.
Yes.
Looking at the right topics, bring liberation to themselves and experience a wonderful, fulfilled life. Thank you.
Brendan. Okay.
And I was just going to say this: Josh Garlic can clear out clogged up arteries, mate. I don't know if that's a question or if you're telling me.
Sounds like you're getting told.
Yeah, I mean, garlic is a medicine. Absolutely, it's not a food source. It stimulates the nervous system so it can help things, but I would say more than likely is used for a detoxification on the external part of the body, to help draw out poisons. It's been done with onion for a lot of things like snake bites, etc. I have no true experience, let's say, if this is a question, on garlic clearing up clogged arteries. I'm sure it has an aspect of thinning blood, but as for clearing out clogged arteries, I would say that's down to removing table salt from your diet, and eating a healthier, heal thy foods. So when you are ingesting table salt, you're scratching the arteries. Cholesterol builds up because cholesterol rebuilds every single cell in your body. So it's saving your life from the internal scratches that's happening from this poor salt. And then it tends to build up in there. But your body does remedy these things very quickly. So I would just suggest a standard plant-based diet, predominantly raw, with a cooked meal a day, and as much fruits as you can, and you'll notice these things remedy themselves. I don't really give power to an individual food source, as it's not something that will remedy a situation. It's the whole holistic lifestyle approach that really does bring remedy to ailments.
Brendan is asking, Josh, do you think...
Sorry.
Okay, sorry. Brendan is asking, do you think when you leave this body, you'll return here again without needing to be a seeker? Now that you found the truth in the body, will you continue to reincarnate knowing the truth? But just above this question with garlic.
See, when you are personified and believe you're the body mind, you have then lost your source. And when you let go of the persona and you take the journey and you're able to recognize yourself, reincarnation is a concept. Because for one to lose their ability to know what they are, the source that they are, to then fall back into this experience again, is just an idea. So liberating yourself to recognize that you're the source of all things and everything is within you. You're dreaming, you're experiencing is no different than this experience within this physical life. You're able to collaborate those two ideas together, bring yourself closer to the recognition that this is everything. This is the universe. This is the earth. This is the God that everyone's seeking. Stop looking with a personified identity. Stop looking with the ideas for something more than what is, because you will lose your happiness. Recognize that the magic is now. And the nowness is that which you get to experience perpetually, identifying as a body, experiencing the senses. But you all have experienced senses and pleasure through sleep. Experience taste. I just asked you, have you experienced pleasure, taste, touching, conversation in your dreams? And I'm sure all of us have. You just try to become aware of that within your dream and control the dream. So you're able to wake up within the dream, but you're not awake physically, you're just awareness. Then the awareness is within the dream, watching it all unfold as it does here. But it's where you sit within yourself at any given time is what you'll experience. So you sit as a person, identifying with the mind, the body, the emotions, the thoughts, and you experience that. But if you want to sit as the self, observing life without persona, without emotional conflict or any emotions, and then you're able to have an intention as a consciousness set, you watch the body do that which it does for the intention to be met. So let me go back to your question and see if I can give you the simplest answer possible. So the body leaves you, you don't leave the body. The idea of the body would pass. And seeking is only within the world or the construct that the consciousness has created. So the seeker is an idea. Because who is the seeker? Your body, your person? And now that you found truth in the body, will you continue to reincarnate knowing the truth? The truth of the body can be found experiencing through a body, but the truth is not found until you let go of all of it. So reincarnation is an idea within consciousness to experience the ideas that it can create. So in the original space where the awareness was there, but no form had yet been created, or manifest, fester is to give attention to, I is 9, which is consciousness. So the consciousness gives attention to man, creates. And all that happens within inside yourself is you're able to have an idea from the true mind, which is consciousness, and create more complex forms, complex experiences to get lost in, to forget yourself. But just as you do within your dream, once a person or a body has been created, you slip and fall. It's only because the attention was on the thing which was created. But it's all been created within inside of you. You're the creator, not the creation. You will never not be that, but you can play as it, and you can easily forget your source. Let's say reincarnation as an idea, you come back into form because you weren't able to be aware. When one dies, they will become aware of what they are. But if they still hold on to a lower mind and need to experience more, then they'll come into another experience to then experience the transcendence of emotions and body to the next level, which is having the ability to create and manifest experience form without the necessary holdings that the body gives you. But it's a necessary part of evolution, because to go beyond this, one needs to experience this. To be able to dream more, dream bigger, keep creating. It's like making a drawing when you're young. If you imagine a young body person creating a piece of art, and they keep attending to art, and it becomes so vivid, so great. The consciousness was young, and it created smaller forms like amoebas, single cells. And then it created more and more complexity. And every time that complexity has been created, one has experienced. But it's just through the ideas of the great mind with inside the awareness, because for anything to be experienced, one has to be aware of it being experienced, and that's what you are.
Going back to that question and what he says, like, now that you found truth in the body, will you continue to reincarnate knowing the truth? I think we discussed, I think we have talked about it before. I don't know, maybe in the Q&A or maybe been somebody else, but there's a way to kind of end, let's say, samsara, right? Like, also coming back, like we achieved something that kind of, we won this game, we leveled up. To what limit do we have to go? Kind of, how enlightened does one have to be before one is allowed to level up? Is it enough to just get the understanding that all this energy, we are a part of this energy, all is one, kind of a thing, or is it something more to it?
But who creates that energy, and where did the energy come from? Because even energy itself is a concept, see.
A consciousness, or like God, or...
Yeah, so when one becomes immaculate, so you clean yourself from all of these ideas, what's left? That's you. So when I say samsara is a concept, when one becomes aware of the idea of samsara, they look for things. So it's just all concepts. So if one's identifying as the body and mind, then they're in samsara. But they are not. Let's try and put this right. So you're in samsara, but also samsara was created as an idea within inside consciousness. To even keep searching to get out of samsara when all you needed to do was let go of the idea of it. Just be here and now. Recognize that which is and which isn't. And everything that is now, and everything which isn't is past or future. If you can hold on to the moment, there's no samsara there. It's just a M-O, ment. You know, ment is mind, and M is balance, is 13, is right in the middle. O is the void, which is devoid of all form. So there's a void that's devoid of all form, which is aware in its own balance, created the ment, which is the moment. There is nothing other than this. This is it. The more you search, the more of the whole you create. People say we go down the rabbit hole. I've been down the rabbit hole, you know, and then where does it take you? You know, they build up an intelligence that has new beliefs. What does one truly know? If I was to ask you what you truly know,
The damn thing.
This piece of life, this, if you're able to know it. You learn the body, you learn the mind, you learn the spirit aspect. That's all you know. That's it. Everything else takes you from your knowing.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what I know. I have or different perceptions and
But that's the thing. That's why it's called a meaning. Because mean is mathematically average. So a meaning is what the average perception is, but every single person has a different perception on the word. So when someone's talking to you and they say, you know, this Bible, you know, means this and a word in it, but it's what you perceive the word to be. Somebody else might perceive it to be different. So if you're asking me to explain something to you regarding a word, it's actually, how do you perceive the word to be? And then I can give you the interpretation of that. So it's so complex. And we spend a lot of our time when we begin to become aware and seeking for more, that we must tell everyone. But your perception is very unique. Uni-Q. Unique. The one Q, which is balance. And the Q is Q-U-E, balance U-E to the E. This is where ego. Reconnect yourself with balance, and in doing so, you will let the energy of the body flow perpetually, which will allow you to ignite yourself to a greater seeing, removing pain body from your experience. And then liberation is found, liber at ion, it's energetically, because there's only energy and frequency that creates the reverberation of suffering. Master them 3. Know yourself.
yes.
All of these great words, you know, they bring a lot of intellect to you, you know, and as soon as you mention, let's say, thought processes, applying your truth, and if you don't apply your truth and you know better, then a demon will jump on you, a thought form. Now the demon is demon, which is to remove, mon is one, to remove oneness. So if you do not apply that which is true to that which you have seeked, you then acquire more thoughts and more suffering. So you need to do what you believe to be true. That's hard to face for some people. Even just when they see that they're eating the wrong foods, every time they eat it, a thought will arise. I shouldn't be eating this. Now I'm separate. Now I'm dialoguing in my head. And then the suffering happens. I wish I didn't eat this. I shouldn't have ate it. I won't eat it tomorrow. Tomorrow comes. It's there in the cupboard. A choice has been made. And this is the cycle of the ego. But something so small as tackling that one thing within your experience, just as food, is very difficult for some.
Mm.
And do you wish to master the universe?
Well, what will be will be.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Can you talk about the brown fat again? Asks Sister Bonnie.
I think last week we briefly just touched on hot and cold treatment, increasing the brown fat in the body, and the brown
Yeah, that
fat
was
just
brown.
helps burn your body fat at a particular rate. But eating healthy and clean foods increases the brown fat. Taking hot cold treatments increases your brown fat, which just has like a higher metabolism and just increases your natural rate of fat burning or fat synthesis.
Mm.
So if you're just looking to increase that, I would just suggest taking a cold shower and then having a warm shower and repeating it, or having some ice treatment and just eating a very healthy, clean diet.
So just to clarify a little bit, if you take a shower, then how many cold and hot frequencies and how long each one? About?
And it really is your own individual journey. So just start off small and take yourself beyond your limits if you're that type of being. You wish to disconnect yourself from the body and challenge yourself, and in that doing so, you'll increase the amount of brown fat in the body. As opposed to white fat, which is what most people have around their tummy and their
Yeah.
arms and legs. But it's just something simple like that. I mean, we don't want to get too complex in it, but just increasing brown fat in the body does help the standard fat burning of the body. You'll notice it deplete as you get older, the brown fat stores.
Mm.
That's why you can put on weight a lot easier. As people get older, they tend to eat a lot less as well, especially in the commercial diet. They get bloated a lot quicker. So they tend to have smaller meals and less frequency, slow their metabolic rate down. They eat a little bit more than they do, the weight goes on, and it's that vicious cycle. But for me, and I'm sure many people here know that everything that we should consume should grow from the ground. And the things that grow and drop effortlessly are fruits. And we have been born, earthed, in areas that aren't equatorial where this drops effortlessly.
Mm.
So this is why it's very important that fruit bears the seed, and all seed bearing fruit is for you, for meat, which is a great meeting of energy, which contains the charge that you need to balance. And in doing so, you remedy RE bring balance within your body.
Mm.
But it's just one level of mastery. Take your time. You have forever.
Mm. Spoonie McClown's asking if cannabis can take away my ability to feel emotions.
Depends how big the bag is. If it puts you to sleep, you probably won't feel any. Cannabis is that's a beautiful herb, beautiful fruit, beautiful plant, has so many uses. I think if we can bring cannabis into the future, then we're going to have a very great carbon neutral environment. Even in growing it for petrol and diesel, it's neutral. So a lot of people benefit from cannabis use. Helps especially seeing through the lies. It's proven to be non-conducive to mind control. If anybody studied the MK Ultra mind control program, how they just let every drug, apart from Cannabis. I think it might have been like ecstasy or something as well that they didn't let them have, but definitely cannabis. Because it's non-conducive to mind control, so it helps you see through lies. It helps you become more balanced and more meditative. Because it's putting in external cannabinoids to the system, when the system produces cannabinoids, it will lead to an irregular balance of cannabis. So if you're using cannabis throughout the day and you're having it as a sacrament and it's just a part of your lifestyle, you'll notice that if you have some time off of it, your mood might drop just because of the dopamine that it releases within the body. If you're a nighttime user, you may experience some downtime during the day where you just feel a bit less focused and more introverted with thoughts, etc. But as for taking you away, where was the question so I can have it with me? Another secret of my ability to feel emotions. Sit with yourself and recognize the anxiety that can come upon you through excessive contemplation during times that you're on cannabis. I think it allows you to contemplate very good. But when people say they get anxious on it, it's because of the thoughts that come into the being, and then focusing on a thought like if the police are going to knock, for example, because you feel like you shouldn't be doing it, you're definitely going to be feeling emotion there. So I would say no. It gives you the ability to see the thought which creates the emotion, and sometimes you just don't go with the narrative. Sometimes you cannot be bothered to fall to the ideas that's being given to you in thought, and you let it go. It's the same thing that you can do here. Most people smoke cannabis. They say it helps them let go of the day, let go of the worries. But if they focus on a worry, you're definitely going to feel it. Definitely. So the answer is no. Use it in moderation. The true Rastafarian will use it half of the time. So as much time on as they do off. I know real modern day Rastafarians just use it all day, all night, and all through the years. It's not destructive. It doesn't cause any issues, let's say, within the body, like cigarette smoking or anything like that. But for the true experience is to have abstinence. And if you're looking for something different, then take in as much as you can, experience that, have some time off, and learn the consciousness itself. You'll find that you become very much more aware. I'm very aware of you yawning right now. Sorry to bore you there, dear brother.
Yeah,
But when you smoke, brother, you become very aware. Let's say.
Yes, I was actually going to say that I personally, I feel like a better person. No, but more aware, more. How can I say? I just said it. A better person in that
less reactive, more responsive.
Yeah.
And more aware. I think it takes you to your awareness, definitely. And you're able to see more vivid. You might not remember the dreams that you have in the night, just because it does tend to alter the REM sleep. But while you're sat there with your eyes shut, you'll be able to experience within yourself as awareness arises. And that's not probably, it is the reason why it's non-conducive to mind control, because of the awareness that it brings. Most people who smoke weed see through all of the governing mental situations that we have there, just like the big crypto scene now.
Yeah, we'll go into that. I'm just going to say that in my experience, it seems to be overrepresenting part of the, let's say, awake people are people that have been, let's say, introduced to some drugs in their life.
Yeah.
Be it ecstasy, be it marijuana, be it mushrooms, be whatever it is. It seems to be a connection.
Just not crack.
Not crack. Not
Not
crack
crack.
and flakka.
Yeah.
No, but there seems to be a something there.
I definitely noticed that from a very young boy. I noticed that within the communities that I was with, everyone was very much more aware than other beings surrounding them, and I'd say 99% of them were marijuana smokers.
Mm.
Yeah. No wonder it was so illegal. Yeah. Again, legalities tied to the person in a world built on consent, with a corporate schooling which teaches no one of these concepts. You must remember that you are free unless you believe you are not, and the government only govern your mental, and that is an experience of consent. Put yourself on a path and a journey if you wish to free yourself from thoughts that someone has power over you, or surrender the idea. It is a wonderful experience going through the book of law and recognizing the world of commerce, that we're all at sea, and having a great time.
Diana Rose is wondering if you have had any experience and knowledge of Jin Shin Jyutsu. Just wondering your thoughts about it if you do. Jin Shin Jyutsu. It's like 3/4 down at least, and
Who is it by, sorry?
Diana Rose
Oh, okay.
with a rose after
Diana
her
Ross
name.
or Rose?
Hmm?
Diana Ross?
No.
Jin Shin Jyutsu. No, I haven't.
What is it?
Sure, it's a form of martial arts,
Mm-hmm.
which all martial arts tend to come down to balancing one's emotional state, heightening their ability. Is a healing art originating from Japan to harmonize life's energy and release energy blockages. So I would say it's just another form, hopefully, of being able to liberate yourself and the energy blockages by having a deep recognition of what is causing them within inside the intellect and the mind. Because that's the only true way to release energy blockages. Otherwise, they will just continue to block themselves back up after the situation has happened. We have a very big spiritual arrogance. Let's not say arrogance. What's the word? Ignorance. And we believe that someone else can free your energy. Somebody else can point you to the space where you can liberate yourself. But truly, the energy blockages are coming from excessive thought, identification, and experiencing them as emotional blocks. Because everyone is okay until they thought about an idea that then causes the level of suffering.
Diane is following up with another question. I don't believe we've been touching it. Can a parasite transfer from person to person? I'm curious how their parasites relate to the illusion of catching a cold from another being.
Parasites can transfer with close contact, absolutely. But a lot of people who are in the season of catching cold is to do with the resonance of the earth. So you'll see cold and flu seasons, and these seasons are essentially when the earth has an alignment. In the alignment, it corrects the magnetic field, and in doing so, it aligns a field within the body, which causes it to purge any pathogens out, or some of the pathogens out. So what's happening is, when everyone is consuming sick, dead food and has sickness and disease, the body is aligning with the earth in its field and thus having a detox. And in that detox, symptoms are felt. So it's usually in a timely fashion with others.
So it's easier to catch a parasite than a virus then?
Yeah, I mean, parasites can be passed on through mouth. If your dog licks you,
Yeah.
then you might have worms from it and things like that. But you can also, get these things from food if you don't wash it properly. That's why we have a
Oh,
great video on washing your food properly with the vinegar and bicarb or lemon juice and bicarb, helping to rid yourself of all of these things. E. coli, salmonella, and legionnaires.
which is something Jostein has been a bit. I'm not going to speak. I'm not going to talk about myself in the third person. Yeah, I have been not so. I've not
The
been so
speaker.
good. I can be better in the cleaning my food department. But I peel everything I can. But of course, grapes, I haven't washed every. I know you wash every single grape.
Very good.
Very good as well, right?
Yeah, they do.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
I just take the time to do it. I enjoy it. And I know what it's doing for my family. So I just stay in that space.
Uh,
And, it
so
takes time.
what exactly can one expect as a result of not cleaning your fruit?
Say some parasites, especially ones found in organic matter. So farmers spray the fields with poo. They take it from the local councils, they give it to the farmers, they spray their fields with it. That poo is not just fruit eaters, it's meat eaters. And let's say there's an array of things like hormones that are being passed down from the toilet use, etc., that other bacteria break down, and then they're not necessarily supposed to be in health, let's say. They get sprayed on the food. Now, there are parasites and certain parasites which are found on that raw food, let's say carrots and things that are underground and it's from the soil, that take and deplete the body of B12 stores. So like you can have a parasite which sucks the B12 out of you. And that's found in raw food. So if you're on a raw food diet and you're not washing your food properly and you have low B12, it could be related to a parasite. Things like this. But you'll find anything from like I said, salmonella on there, and you might find yourself getting sick. So it's just best to. And even if you peel them, you're holding the peel in your hand first, and then you put it down and maybe chop it up. So it's good to wash it before you peel it as well. But this is just, there's new devices that people are trialing out within the X family. You just put them in the water, and it seems quite a small tub. But for me, I mean, I hope it works wonderfully for everyone. But I prefer the old school way of washing it,
Yeah.
myself. If I had that, I'd probably still wash it as well.
That can be a stepping stone for me at least.
Yeah, definitely get yourself a
Do
bathtub full of it.
bath. I have a bathtub. Don't use much. But do you remember the name of that machine? Or anybody
I
here?
think it's Aqua Pure. I think I feel. Let me check.
I was thinking about that the other day, you see.
Um, yeah, somebody puts it in the comments if they do use it.
Yeah, at least there's a machine. And how did it clean again? I don't remember that either, but it was some kind of a process.
Let's see, vegetable cleaner. I'm sure it's a brand. It says the contaminants are rendered harmless. You can easily wash them away with a quick rinse. Aquapure removes bacteria, mold, pesticide residue, uncovers the real taste of fruits and vegetables. The result can be beautifully clean fruits and vegetables from nasty chemicals and germs. I mean, if it does what it says on the tin, it's an incredible thing. But the residue is non-soluble for water, which is for staying on the fruits when it rains. And I'm sure there's a resonance. I'm sure there's an electric charge that probably goes through it, or a plasma, an ionization or something. But still, maybe use both. I probably would. But if it works, I mean, I'd love to see the testing myself, not
Yeah,
just on a video.
did you say the name? Or you can send me the
I
link.
typed in Aqua Pure and it came up. If you just put
Okay.
vegetable cleaner or something like
Okay.
that, shop Aqua Pure vegetable cleaner. Yeah, Aqua Pure, one word.
Okay. Do you also zero tolerance? Good evening, guys. Appreciate the content, brothers. Josh, do you think people who suffer with psychosis and mental breakdowns may be highly conscious? Thanks for enjoying the content, Josh.
Definitely.
Mm.
In a sense. So you become very highly conscious and aware of the negativity that surrounds you in the world. And then your attention on those thought processes and the desire to change them causes you to have mental breakdowns and psychosis. So you got to accept the world for what it is. You have to not have a desire to change the world. Then you have to look inside of yourself and see the conflict that arises from these. And you sit with it and you contemplate and you recognize that you cannot change this idea. You cannot change the past. You cannot change the future. You just have this moment. Now, what is the best thing to do in this moment? To accept and surrender the idea and continue to move forward. And then take this as a daily practice. And then you'll get to a point where you've eliminated all of this conflict within you. There's no more depression, anxiety from past or future, desires to change, no more breakdowns. You'll be absolutely fine. So this is the pointings that people need to have when they're going through these things. Of course, you have seen the bad, which is very good at being presented to people with inside a woke thought space, pointing the negativities out within the world. But we must remember the world was here for that very purpose. It's duality. These things are supposed to bring you to a state of wakefulness by the opposite functions from the truth. Why do you think the world spins around at millions of miles an hour? And the sun and the moon are opposite ends, but yet you can see them in the sky in the daytime together. How does water conform to a cup and stay level on a ball? You know, these things are madness. I don't claim to know the shape of the earth, but conceptually, through inner standing magnetism, you'll recognize that the inertia plane of energy allows energy, frequency, and vibration to interact. And that is flat. I know that the sun, through observing like especially rays, is not as far away as they have explained. It's not 93 million miles away. It's not a million miles away. It is not a quarter of that. So just some subtle observations. You observe yourself. It brings great clarity. But let me know if you owe tolerance. Let me know if you have been focusing too much on the negativity in the world and there is a desire to change it. Because I feel like that is probably what's been happening for you. And we wish you the best. And it's hard to hear me when I move away, so let me bring it closer.
Spoonie McClown has another question. Are the laws of the universe real or just theories, i.e. law of attraction, resonance, assumption, etc.?
Yeah. The laws of the universe are very real. They're concepts that have arisen within the one for the person, physical experiencer, to navigate around the realm of energy. So laws of attraction, your thoughts that you have at any given time, they resonate within and permeate the field in the physical world. So whenever you are thinking, you are feeling, and your feeling pulls in the energy and aligns you with it. So this is why it's very important to focus on the positivity in the world rather than the negativity, because you resonate positivity. And then that has an experience that then manifests within your field. And then you see the sweetness in the world, recognize the faults, but have no desire to change them because you know the purpose of the fault. And it was to bring you to clarity. They definitely do, is the simple answer there. you can master these. And I recommend everyone just taking subtle observations of each thing, form, conversation, thought, injunction, and see how it responds to your energy, your resonance, your words. There is a point where the laws are then concepts, and they don't serve the one who creates. But we'll leave that.
Saira has a training question. Not sure if this has been asked, but is it worthy to do a HIIT workout 2-3 times a week alongside strength training to aid in more fat loss and getting lean?
Depends how long or how many days you're actually doing a fat burning. Working out for, say, strength training. Are you on a 3-day or 5-day or 6-day? A high intensity workout, can tend to, if it's really high intensity, do the opposite of what your goal may be orientated to. So you could actually be eating your muscle tissue. And sometimes the result of going catabolic, by doing that, you'll hold on to body fat. So you got to be very careful, but it's something that's not going to happen, rapidly. So it would be not a bad thing for you to experience it for yourself and just see how it makes you feel. If you're looking for just extra fat burning alongside strength training, I would just recommend going on lovely walks, quiet, nice walk in the afternoon, in the evening, both 2 times a day, 3 times a day for 20 minutes, 30 minutes. Give yourself a medium pace. Don't walk fast, just walk steady, but not slow. And you'll find your heart rate elevated to probably like 125 beats a minute, 130. And that is the range that your body's going to be burning fat and obviously maintaining the muscle because it's not a high intensity. So I would suggest that, but be free to do that which you are feeling, so you will know yourself. It's good to hear that you're doing such incredible work alongside your cleaning and clearing of conscious thoughts and eating the right foods. Thank you for being such a great practitioner.
And it made me think about my, not so long ago, I was looking at Jack the dog, and I was thinking he's added some weight. He's quite chubby. And I've been having some of the same problems. So I realized that after we moved here, to the countryside, we don't do walks.
Okay.
He just go outside when he go to the door when he wants to go outside, and he's out for a bit, and he comes back. But I think the actual walk is probably because he doesn't leave the premises. He's just around here, so he doesn't get training. So first I it's because took a while for I connected the dots.
Yeah.
Quite embarrassing that of course me myself as well when doing a walk with Jack, I'm getting some workout.
Yeah, definitely. Walking is the best thing. When I used to get myself down to like 2% body fat, I'd probably have 3 walks a day. And in between my meals, I would just enjoy it, walk along the beach and just really enjoy being with myself and taking in the breath of fresh air. And
just remind everybody, maybe because of since they was talking about the fat, maybe we talked about it last time. It's important, like you just said, not to get catabolic, and that means you need to take something in every 2.5-3 hours, right? If you're on the fruit, at least.
To maintain anabolism, it's best to eat your meals every 2.5 hours after you've finished. So every 3-hour meals is probably an idea. So if you're awake 12 hours a day, you're going to have like 4 meals. Most people aren't awake 12 hours. They don't have the 12-hour sleep cycle.
That would be the absolute best for fat burning.
Yeah. And obviously try not to overeat, but make sure you eat enough. And that's the balance there, you know. So even if you have a smaller meal and you increase the frequency, that's going to be beneficial for you to eat every hour and a half or 2 hours rather than overeat and overeat and overeat. Just if you're looking for a subtle fat loss. I'm sure that most people just eating a healthy whole food diet will experience a level where they lose body fat or excess body fat and then maintain it. And then from that space, you just alter things and experience what your body really will do. I know that we've both been very lean in our past.
Just looking for a question.
Rudy McLovin, what do you recommend for thyroid support? Really great is kombu, very high levels of iodine in it. I recommend just boiling a packet up, which is probably 200 grams, maybe 150, in a liter of water, letting it reduce, and then pouring it into ice cubes and taking one a day.
Okay, natta. Men det var ständigt nu, sitter nu lite. Natta. Kan du vise musklene dine? Først spurte.
Hei.
Hello.
Veldig bra. Ja, det natta. Kan du si good night?
Good night.
Good night. Love you.
Han sa good night inni her. Ja.
Sweet boy.
Tack. Sarah says the most amazing aha moments have come on weed through contemplation. Yeah, that's what we talked about before. At least for like these aha moments.
Great chat today and conversation, great comments and great questions. Good to see everyone today. Thanks. I see that Rudy McLovin got a big ask here from can you give me a time frame? 205 pounds, will begin the flex challenge, will switch to a fruit diet. How long till I achieve my primal body? Looking to be in my prime body, nothing more, nothing less. I mean, if you could give some height, it would give me some better indication. And also depending on what you've been consuming before. So 5'11", so 5'11", 205, about 14 stone. Are you muscular or have you done no working out before? I presume you've probably got around about 25 pounds probably to lose. If you're going to give yourself a 12-week challenge, I would say double that. You'll continue to gain muscle, but in the initial space, you're going to have a great transformation, like a rebound. So you have, it seems like water weight, he said, but he's got fat. So it's probably just a thick subcutaneous layer. So that water will drop off you initially, the inflammation. And if you're looking for 25 pounds, I'd probably say you could do that. Well, you could do it a lot quicker, but 4 months nicely. And then obviously the muscles will continue to volumize and get bigger over time. So you would expect yourself a 2-year, probably from start to finish, to find yourself in a sort of maximum size without consuming excess or more. That's a very hard question to answer because
Mm.
everyone's kind of different body types, mesomorph, ectomorph, endomorph. But it's all there for you on the course. And if there's anything people wish to have, just let us know and we can add that in as well.
Mm.
You need to start advertising these courses. I have no idea how to do it. So I'm going to re-update every single course, and we're going to do the virtues next. And I'm going to write, way more information, on ego, surrender, acceptance, things like this. Bring it into a course of destruction of the ego and how to increase your wellness and happiness. And then I need to try to find a space to bring it to light to others, because truly we've given some incredible pointings that are there, but we would like to fulfill the dream of creating these fruit forests across the plain. And to do so, we need to increase more traffic to our site and to our family. So once that has happened, there'll be no stopping us creating these spaces across the plain.
Mm.
For those that seek fruit, consciousness, and peace. So yeah, if anyone knows how to do such things or is intelligent enough within inside the computer world, reach out. It would be very kind.
We will hopefully have a talk with Ole tomorrow. Maybe he can help us with something. What we do know is that it will happen when it's meant to happen. Everything will. So it's definitely gonna happen.
Yeah.
Mm. Mm.
And there was a quick question by Spoonie Loving. Josh, I remember the X-Founders. Anyway, have a one-on-one chat. I try to do the Sunday convos you do with the group, but my schedule hasn't aligned. And yeah, of course there is. You just private message me on the X-Found and we can talk.
Mm-mm. I think we've done what we need to do today, or need to do what we have done well. I believe we are close to 2 hours, and most questions
next Thursday, eh? So we can finish the answers from the questions that you've asked before, if we didn't get to them.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you all so much. Thank you, brother Jostein,
Thank
for
you.
having me
Thank
and
you.
arranging these wonderful podcasts together. And it wouldn't be anything without our wonderful X-Fam audience with us. Thank you all so much for joining in, and thank you for all the application of the truth that you do, all the time and energy you put into yourself to bettering your world and thus having a reflection on ours. I'm so gifted to know you all, and I do live in constant gratitude for the support that you give us.
Just to mention, Diane Rose says, I'm no professional, but I've been learning the techniques and trends of social media marketing. If no one more qualified steps forward, I'd be happy to help.
Oh, wow. It's a very kind offer. Thank you so much.
And she'll reach out on the site. Yes, thank you. Thank you, Diane. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Again, thank you, Josh. It definitely wouldn't be anything without you. So we are all very, very grateful for your time and wisdom.
Have a beautiful, strong.
Yes.
Everyone.
So
you
until
are the source. We'll see you next Thursday. Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.